Happy Thanksgiving Eve. I would be thankful if you would click on the link below and order this book, Cupid Takes a Holiday, which I wrote. And yeah, I mean, I'm thankful for a lot of things. I will be tomorrow, but I'd be thankful for that in addition if you and then you can leave. I got a review, and I think I know who it's from, but it's a different name. But I think from other things the person reviewed, I think I figured out who it is. But maybe it's a complete stranger who I don't know who wrote it, and it was 5 stars. So there you go. I'm gonna try to do this as quickly as possible um, because I don't want to do it tomorrow. But tonight we watched Are You Afraid of the Dark? The Tale of the Mystical Mirror and The Tale of the Chameleons, and there are uh, significantly silly issues with both, but I'll get to them in good time. And again, I'm going to try to do this in very good time. So the episode opens with Tucker roasting a hot dog on the fire, the Midnight Society fire, and this blasphemy. Gary's kind of looking at him like, "What are you doing?" Stig comes over, puts a bun in Gary's hand, and tries to squirt mustard in it, but Gary moves the bun away. It's cute pre-show stuff. Gary's kind of well because Tucker's so young, and I guess Stig is Tucker's age. It's a fun dynamic. But he's got to be like the adult, and I wonder how he feels about that. He does seem older than all the other kids there. Anyway, it's a Betty Ann story, and she comes bearing makeup because she has to put on makeup, I guess, for a family photo or something. I forget exactly what it was, but of course, it ties into her story, which is about mirrors and how sometimes mirrors lie. And this is where the significantly silly issue comes in. She says sometimes mirrors don't tell the truth, but the mirror in the story uh, is the only way that the truth is discovered. So it's kind of doesn't necessarily go along, but whatever. So the story, we start with a girl who I think her name was Tanis. Tanis is what I wrote down. That's what it sounded like. I'm pretty sure it wasn't Dennis. She's being chased through the woods by a cloaked figure, and um, then yeah, she gets caught. We don't know exactly what happens, but we see the cloaked figure, and there's I believe, a fire there too. And I wondered if it was the same campfire setting as the Midnight Society sits around. So anyway, the actual that's the pre-story. The actual story begins. Laurel, is it Laurel? Laura. No, Laura's the actor. Laurel is the character. So Laurel is bringing Cindy to her job at a beauty shop, where she also works with Vicky, and it is run by Miss Valenti, and there's a job opening. And so Cindy wants the job potentially. Miss Valenti arrives and says that Cindy uh, has to conform to her standards of beauty because the people who come in, they want to buy beauty products from beautiful people. And so uh, Cindy goes through a whole makeover thing, and she comes out looking like uh, several years older is how I would describe it, but kind of like a doll also. Um, she looks like she looks too old is what it is, but it's what the person who owns the store wants. And Miss Valenti is also saying that she's got some fabulous new fashion stuff from Italy or wherever, and she's got them at her home, and she invites her beauties, as she calls them, Vicky and Laurel, to visit her and check them out. And Laurel can't go because she has a date with her boyfriend. But Vicky goes. We find out Vicky has Laurel's watch, and it's a gift from Laurel's boyfriend to Laurel, and so Laurel wanted to wear it. So when she and Cindy leave, and Vicky's already gone to Miss Valenti's house, she's upset that she doesn't have the watch. So they go to Miss Valenti's house to get the watch. It's not that nice a watch, but it's a gift, so she wanted to wear it on the date. Um, let's see. Um, as or after the makeover, Cindy is bequeathed with, I guess it's a compact, um, and from Miss Valenti, she says she gives it to all her beauties once they become beautiful, and she says she rarely wear. And Cindy says she'll rarely use it, but as she's handing it to her, Miss Valenti's hand shakes, and then later we see her in the back room looking into a mirror, and the mirror starts to glow. It's a very special gilded mirror. And she talks about how the business has been in her family for years and years. So that's the backstory. And so we're approaching her house, and there's an animal in the woods or something. Cindy senses, and before they get there, we see Vicky there. She tries on his very nice fancy hat, but then she is offered uh, that same gilded mirror to look into, and it starts to possess her a little bit. And then Miss Valenti says, "If you drink this, the beauty will be yours forever." And so Vicky does have a drink, and then she feels sick, and her eyes glow, and we don't see what happens, but we know that it's potentially going to happen to Laurel and Cindy when they arrive. So at first, they get to the door, nobody answers. Um, and then Miss Valenti comes up from behind them because she's been outside apparently for some reason, and invites them both in. And she says Vicky never came, but then Cindy spots Vicky's watch, and so she knows that Vicky was there. She spots Laurel's watch that Vicky has, so she knows Vicky was there. She asks to use the bathroom. Um, and on her way up, she sees a bunch of pictures that seem to be of Miss Valenti, but she probably concludes are of her ancestors because she was in a beauty pageant in 1955 and in 1923. And she makes it to the bathroom. She's going to put on lipstick. There's no mirror in the bathroom, so she takes out the compact. And as she's looking in the compact, the photograph of Miss Valenti behind her is revealed to be an older woman. Um, just looking at it, it looks like Miss Valenti as we see her in the show, but through the mirror, it's an older woman. And then she tries the mirror on a bunch of other. Oh, she goes to the bathroom because Miss Valenti says, "Put on some lipstick. You look pale." That's the kind of person this. It's an old people are afraid of looking old story. One of those chestnuts. And so she checks the mirror with all the pictures that she passed on the way, and they're all of an older woman. And then she checks, like around the corner, she checks it on Miss Valenti in person, and lo and behold, it's an older woman. So she knows something's going on, and then she tries to get Laurel to leave, but Laurel won't leave because she's possessed by the mirror. And but Miss Valenti escorts Cindy out because Cindy's going to ruin her plans, and she leaves. But then she goes around to the window, and just as Laurel is about to drink, or she does drink a little bit, but then Cindy bangs on the window and convinces her to leave, and she realizes Laurel in that moment realizes something's wrong, and she runs, but she doesn't get far before she turns into the dog from Dogecoin, and and then is lured into a cage by. I guess once they become dogs, they're kind of under Miss Valenti's spell because Miss Valenti has no trouble luring this dog with teeth, and dogs can do damage, but she has no trouble luring the dog into a cage. There are a couple other dogs. It's by that campfire that does when it went back to the Midnight Society, it looked a little different, but I thought it might be the same fire pit set as the Midnight Society. Um, so they're all dogs, and then Cindy appears, and she threatens to break the mirror. And then Miss Valenti says, "Well, look in the mirror. You could look beautiful. I could give you beauty for eternity," and all that sort of thing that she sold to Vicky and Laurel previously. And then I'm thinking, but Cindy doesn't value that, and so Cindy ends up breaking the mirror in the fire, and then Miss Valenti does the face melting thing from the Indiana Jones movie, the Raiders of the Lost Ark. Not as gruesomely, but kids version. Um, and then all the dogs turn back into girls, and they come out of the cages, and that's the story. And then Tucker says, "So that's over. Well then, it's time to roast some hot dogs." And I wrote down Freaks and Geeks because I recognized a character on Freaks and Geeks, and it turns out it's Sam from the Midnight Society, plays the head cheerleader in Freaks and Geeks. So that was fun to realize. The Tale of the Chameleons is another Betty Ann story, and she brings her pet to the meeting, and she won't let anybody see it, but presumably they're all assuming, oh, it's what she's going to tell her story about. And so here she says, what if there are still hidden animals, like animals we haven't discovered? And of course there are. But she seems to, the thing about her story is, well, but they're dangerous. If we find them and bring them to our world, will they abide by our rules? And it's like, no, they're animals. They will not abide by rules. You can't make animals abide by rules. But she's setting the mood for the story. And the story is, of course, the tale of the chameleons. And the story opens with a kid kind of rampaging through a pet store, bothering all the animals, drops his gum in the fish tank, and he's kind of scratching at um, the mesh screen of the chameleon cage. And here's the thing about the chameleon: it's not a chameleon; it's an iguana. And um, I suppose children might not notice, but I think you get to a certain age, chameleons are like the way that they look is pretty famous. And the way that they move, and I determined halfway through the episode, oh, they wanted something that would run, and that is why they went with an iguana and not a chameleon. Because I maybe chameleons can run. I know they can move fast when they need to capture food. I don't think they run, and so that's why. But it's like very obviously not a chameleon. But it doesn't have to be a chameleon because the idea is that not that it changes colors, its skin changes colors, it's that it changes into a person. And this is the one with Tia and Tamara Mowry. And I don't. I guess I did watch some Sister Sister. I think they were on Nickelodeon a lot, like as themselves, as personalities, because I looked through their filmography and I didn't see a lot that I recognized other than Are You Afraid of the Dark? Um, but I definitely remember them from growing up. So they must have been. I think maybe they hosted Snick or something, or they were on Double Dare. Like they were special guests. I remember them from something. I just don't remember what. And I don't think I remember them from this episode because I don't remember this. I don't remember either of these episodes. Um, but anyway, uh, there's a chameleon at the pet store, and it bites whichever one was playing Janice. Maybe they. It says Tia and Tamara, but that's how they were billed. So I don't know if that means that Tia played Janice and Tamara played the chameleon. But they were Janice and the chameleon were played by different people. I'm assuming. I guess I could look it up and find the answer somewhere, but it's late. Um, so anyway, uh, Janice is the character, the human character, reaches into the chameleon cages and gets bitten by the chameleon. And then the kid, who pointed out that it was a chameleon and clearly has never seen a chameleon before, says, uh, bites you once, bites you twice, little water, pay the price. And it's a weird little rhyme. Don't know where he got it. Maybe he's a chameleon, as we will see. Janice's friend is Sharon. She's spending the weekend with Janice's family, and we see the chameleon, which escapes because it bites her. She pulls her arm out of the cage so fast that the cage falls apart, and the chameleon escapes. And it escapes into her mother's grocery bag. And then we have some character development arguments, kids arguing with the mother. She wants to get a dress. Her mother says, no, it's too tight, too tight a dress. You can't wear that dress. You can't put blue streaks in your hair. And so we get this is the dynamic of the family. Then we go back and meet the dad, and he takes the mother's side, even though he doesn't seem to really care. Although one would think stereotypically the dad would care more about a tight dress. And Sharon's there because her parents are frequently out of town, and they don't spend as much time with her as Janice's parents do, and she's kind of jealous of that. So then we see they're sleeping in separate rooms, Sharon and Janice. But I guess that's because she's more of a guest than not really a sleepover slumber party type thing. She just needed a place to stay with adults. So we see Janice in bed, and we see the kind of blankets moving, and it's the chameleon moving up, and then it bites her again. And so she's been bitten twice. And then it runs away, and she gets up to kill it, but then when she opens the door, in comes her twin, and who says, little water, pay the price, and Joe Janice screams and runs away, and apparently the chameleon can turn back into a chameleon as a defense mechanism, because of course it can't change color as a defense mechanism, because it's not a chameleon, it's an iguana, so she turns back. So when Sharon comes to the room to Janice's aid, there's nothing there to see. And but Sharon decides to spend the night, sleep with Janice to protect her, keep her safe. So in the morning, when Janice is brushing her teeth, she hears that the shower is on, and she looks to see it. The shower's on. Nobody's in there. But then her twin appears behind her, pushes her into the shower. It turns her into a chameleon. So now we've got the twin is on the loose, being very nice to the parents, saying, yes, you were right about the dress. You were right about the hair. It's all fine. Because she wants to, make friends with the humans so that they don't suspect her. But somehow Sharon comes to suspect her. And she comes to suspect her because, what does she find? For one thing, Janice had a rash when she woke up, possibly because she was turning into a chameleon, but then it's gone later in the day. That's a little suspicious. Let's see. She's suspicious that Janice suddenly is on her parents' side about the dress, gives up on the dress. And she's suspicious that Janice is so determined to kill the lizard. Because the twin has Sharon lay mouse traps around to try to kill the lizard. She says, are you sure this is not weird? Then she sees Janice eat a goldfish, and that really seals it, that this is not a human. And it was fun. I don't know where I know Tia and Tamara from specifically, but watching this, it was so obvious why they were big, like why they were a hit, why they became famous. They had personality to spare, and more of it comes from the evil twin, because that's just the nature of evil twins. They're more cackly and villainous. But so the evil twin orders a box of chameleons, and Sharon finds out all of this, discovers the box of chameleons, and figures out that Janice is the chameleon in disguise. Let's see, what does that say? And when she realizes this, it's right when the chameleon is trying to put Janice down the garbage disposal, the lizard down the garbage disposal. And Sharon reaches her hand into the garbage disposal and pulls Janice out just in time. And that was the scariest part of the episode for me, as someone who knows what could have happened and now looks at these kids like, don't do stupid things, kids, like put your hand in the garbage disposal. So that was the scariest thing for me. Probably the transformation into the iguana was the scariest thing for other people, for the target audience, the kids. So then Sharon helps chameleon Janice to bite her evil twin twice, and then just add water, but they have to do that classic twin thing where the evil one grabs the good one, and then they turn into a circle, and now which one is which? Well, they have to convince Sharon which one is which, and one of them ends up dumping the box of chameleons down into the well. The family's got a well. And so that is taken to be the sign that that's the good one. But we find out later it wasn't after all. We also find out that Spike, Betty Ann's pet, is not a chameleon or an iguana, it's a snake. And it freaks out the rest of the Midnight Society. And then she pets it and says, wait till they see you when you're all grown up. So that was cute. Let's see. Next to The Tale of Prisoners Past and The Tale of C7. I don't recognize the titles. So maybe we're getting to the point. Let's see, with these aired in 1995. Maybe I was not watching, or I wonder if I will recognize any more. But in any case, happy Thanksgiving tomorrow. And probably today by the time anyone's watching this. But nobody's going to watch it, so never mind. And again, there's the book, and the link is below. So yeah, happy Thanksgiving.